The ripple effect of kindness. The clock struck 7:30 a.m. as sunlight streamed through the large glass windows of Grayson's diner. Inside, the hum of morning life filled the air. A medley of clinking cutlery, murmured conversations, and the occasional burst of laughter. Plates of golden pancakes, sizzling bacon, and steaming coffee moved rhythmically from the kitchen to the tables, carried expertly by the waitstaff. Emily, a young waitress with warm hazel eyes and a kind smile, weaved through the crowd. She had been working at the diner for 2 years, and her cheerful demeanor made her a favorite among regulars. No matter how hectic the shift, she found joy in her work. Her colleagues often teased her for being overly empathetic. "You can't fix the world, Emily," they would say, but Emily disagreed. "Maybe not," she'd reply, "but a little kindness can make someone's day better." This morning, though, she felt a tug at her heart as she glanced out the window. Across the street, sitting on the curb, was a man she hadn't noticed before. His appearance was striking. Frayed clothes hung loosely on his frame, his face was pale and unshaven, and his shoulders were hunched forward, as though he carried the weight of the world on his back. What drew her attention most was his gaze. He wasn't looking at the bustling street or the people passing by. Instead, his eyes were fixed on the plates of food being carried inside, a mix of longing and resignation in his expression. Emily tried to focus on her work, but her thoughts kept returning to the man. She had seen her share of struggles in life and understood how even small gestures could make a difference. After ensuring her tables were cared for, she approached the counter. "Hey, Chloe," Emily said to the cook behind the counter, her voice low. "Can I plate up an extra meal?" "I'll cover it." Chloe raised an eyebrow. "For who?" Emily glanced toward the window. "That man outside. He looks like he could use a good meal." Chloe hesitated, but eventually nodded.
"All right."
Scrambled eggs, bacon, hash browns, and toast coming right up in minutes. Emily carried the plate of food, along with a steaming cup of coffee, outside. She approached the man slowly, not wanting to startle him. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly. The man flinched, his tired eyes snapping up to meet hers. "I don't have any money," he said quickly, his voice hoarse and tinged with embarrassment. "You don't need any," Emily replied, her smile warm and genuine. "This is for you." For a moment, he didn't move. Then, with trembling hands, he took the plate and coffee. "Why are you doing this?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because everyone deserves kindness," she said simply. The man's eyes welled up with tears. "My name's Sam," he said after a pause. "I used to be someone, you know. I served in the army. But when I came back," his voice broke, and he looked away. Emily sat beside him on the curb. "You don't have to explain if it's too hard," she said gently. Sam shook his head. "No, it's okay. I lost everything when I got back. Couldn't find work. Nightmares kept me from sleeping. My family tried to help, but I pushed them away. Now, here I am." Emily's heart ached for him. "I'm so sorry you've been through that, Sam. But you're not alone. There are people who care." Their conversation was interrupted when Emily heard her name called sharply. She turned to see Mr. Grayson, the diner's owner, storming toward her. His face was flushed with anger. "What do you think you're doing?" he demanded, his voice loud enough to turn heads inside the diner. Emily stood, her cheeks flushing. "I was helping someone who needed it," she said, her voice steady. Mr. Grayson scoffed. "Helping someone? You gave away food without paying for it. This is a business, Emily, not a charity." "It was one plate," Emily said firmly. "And he was hungry. I couldn't just ignore him." "Well, you should have," Mr. Grayson snapped. "You've embarrassed this diner in front of our customers. You're fired." The words hung in the air. Emily's chest tightened, but she refused to back down. "If showing kindness is something to be ashamed of, then I don't want to work here," she said. She removed her apron, set it on the counter, and walked away, her head held high. An unexpected opportunity. Emily sat on a bench outside the diner, her emotions swirling. She had lost her job and wasn't sure how she would pay her bills, but deep down, she knew she had done the right thing. She was so lost in thought that she didn't notice the sleek black car pulling up until a man stepped out. He was tall, dressed in a tailored suit, with an air of quiet authority. "Excuse me," he said, his tone warm. "Are you Emily?" Emily looked up, startled. "Yes, that's me," she said hesitantly. "I'm Mayor Daniels," he said, sitting beside her. "I heard about what happened. Your actions were nothing short of heroic." Emily's eyes widened. "Heroic? But I just lost my job." The mayor nodded. "Sometimes doing the right thing comes at a cost. But people like you, who lead with their hearts, are exactly what this community needs." He handed her a card. "There's a non-profit organization that helps veterans and the homeless. They're looking for someone compassionate and dedicated. If you're interested, I'd be happy to recommend you." Tears filled Emily's eyes as she took the card.
"Thank you," she said.
"This means so much to me." The ripple effect. The mayor shared Emily's story on social media, praising her compassion and calling on the community to do more for those in need. The post went viral, inspiring thousands. Donations poured into local shelters, and businesses began creating opportunities for the homeless and veterans. Sam, with help from the nonprofit, received medical care, therapy, and a place to stay. He eventually found part-time work at a community center helping other veterans. As for Emily, the nonprofit offered her a full-time position, and she discovered a newfound purpose in her work. Her simple act of kindness had sparked a movement, reminding people of the power of compassion. Years later, Emily would look back on that day and smile. What began with a single plate of food had transformed countless lives, including her own.